Katie Wilson, the socialist, hasn't even been sworn in yet as the new mayor of Seattle, and she's already doing what a good mayor of Seattle does: defend violent criminals. Let's talk about it in our segment, Unbelievable. Okay, so Wilson has been busy on her transition team, assembling a crack A team who's going to definitely be good for the city, sure. But they took the time to send this out on her transition account. It is a statement from Katie Wilson. Yesterday, I was appalled by the dehumanizing language the President of the United States used to describe members of our nation's Somali community. Today, I've learned that ICE intends to deport Greggy Sorio, who's been held for months at the Northwest Detention Center without proper medical care despite his precarious physical condition. We must not allow this repeated and intensifying cruelty to become normalized. I stand in solidarity with our immigrant communities who are under attack from the very government that should be protecting their human and civil rights. As mayor, I will do everything I can to stand with the targets of this needless aggression. I will work to make sure that every resident of our city feels safe, secure, and respected. Interesting. I will work to make sure that every resident of our city feels safe, secure, and respected. So she very specifically calls out this guy named Greggy Sorio, and she says what he's been through is horrible. At the detention center for months, held there for months, not getting the care that he needs. He's fragile. He's in a fragile state. Yeah, he's also a violent criminal. So back in March, ICE sent out information about this Greggy Sorio, 36 years old. He'd been taken into custody in Alaska. It says ICE Seattle arrests criminal aliens across the Pacific Northwest. Greggy Sorio, a citizen of the Philippines, was arrested in Alaska after being convicted by the state for assault, theft, burglary, reckless endangerment, and violation of a domestic violence protection order. These are the people Katie Wilson cares about. These are the people who Katie Wilson wants to be treated with dignity and respect. Illegal aliens who beat women, who burglarize businesses, who assault people. And she has the audacity to end her statement with, I will work to make sure that every resident of our city feels safe, secure, and respected. Do you think the woman he beat feels respected? Do you think the business he burglarized feels safe, secure, and respected? Do you think any crime victim is going to feel safe, secure, and respected in a city with a police abolitionist as mayor who takes time to individually call out the name of an illegal alien with a long criminal history who's going to be deported from this country and express sympathy for him, but not sympathy for any of his victims? One time. I challenge you. This is your homework for the day, just because I don't want to do it because it'd take a while. Go find me one statement where Katie Wilson ever, it can go back to her time in the transit, working on a transit blog. Find me one time where she has named the victim of a crime. One time where she has individually named the victim of a crime and expressed any sort of sympathy for them. I bet it doesn't exist. I could be wrong. Maybe a bicyclist got hit by something sometime and she probably expressed sympathy for the bicyclist as a transit blogger, which, okay. But I bet it doesn't exist. They care about criminals. They don't care about you. And that's very clear. Did she know his background? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because as mayor, your words matter. And if you're going to feign sympathy for someone, don't you think you ought to take the extra step to say, well, let me make sure I understand who I'm expressing sympathy for? I know I would, just the responsible thing to do, right? So whether she knew or didn't know is equally as bad. Meanwhile, so she's talking about the inhumanity at these immigrant detention facilities. And this has been a common theme of progressives and socialists. They don't like the privately run detention facilities. They've wanted them to be abolished for a long time, but in reality, they just don't want there to be immigration laws. That's really the truth here. And I think that's clear so Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of our state and the chair of the House Progressive Caucus, she is introducing a new bill. And basically what she's framing it as is the bill would restore humanity to immigrant detention. But if you listen very closely to what she says, it's clear what she actually wants. She just wants to dismantle the Department of Homeland Security and all its facets.
Enough. Our Dignity for Detained Immigrants Act has a remarkable, unprecedented 123 original co-sponsors. Before we've even introduced it, 123 co-sponsors, and it overhauls the detention system. It drastically scales back the use of detention. It ensures that every single immigrant who is in detention has their human and civil rights protected. Our bill also phases out the use of private for-profit detention centers. It prohibits the detention of children and families and makes it harder to detain primary caregivers and vulnerable people like pregnant women or seniors or workers who are whistleblowing on unscrupulous employers.
And we don't want to detain moms, families, children, workers, primary caregivers, sick people, the elderly. She's basically trying to make it so that there are entire swaths of illegals who can't be detained. And if they can't be detained, then they're not going to be able to be deported. And that really is the underlying thing here, is they want to get rid of this idea that you're illegal in the United States. And again, I go back to someone like this guy who's been detained at the facility in Tukwila for a few months now. This is someone who came into our country illegally, assaulted someone in an act of domestic violence, committed theft, burglary, reckless endangerment. And those are the people who Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal wants to make sure are treated better. Do you ever hear her ever talking about crime victims who are citizens of our state, who are Seattleites in the district that she represents? They don't ever talk about that. And so I think it just shows is that what they really want is the dismantling of our immigration process and our system. They want lawlessness. Because if there's lawlessness, there is more room for the government to step in and say, we'll be the ones to restore order. And they restore order by taking your rights away. That's what it's all about. They restore order by basically making it so that they're the only ones who would ever be in a position to be able to make you feel safe. It's just wild stuff. Oh, and then the media, just to turn the knife. No wonder they get away with it. The media has headlines like this. Como News, which sadly is one of the good TV stations. If I had to rank the Seattle TV stations in order of sucks the most to sucks the least, Como probably sucks the least. Here's their headline on the Afghan who drove from Washington State to D.C. and murdered a National Guardsman and critically injured another. Washington man accused of shooting D.C. National Guard members pleads not guilty to murder. Now he's one of us. Washington man. How many, I need to put together a montage of all the headlines where they've called a dangerous, violent, illegal alien Washington man, or some version of it. Remember they called Paco Olympia man, and he was a wanted murderer from Mexico? Oh, Olympia man, farmer, business owner. No, he's a wanted illegal alien from Mexico. So the media's not doing us any favors either. And Como News. That's really sad when that's the least bad of the TV stations. It's really sad.